talking about the difference in depreciation from a brand new property to a second-hand property.
Yeah.
Now, is there a huge difference between the two?
There's a difference certainly in the methodology. There can be a huge difference in the deductions as well. All things being equal, if you've got an unrenovated property built in, say, 1975, there's not going to be any depreciation really.
Sure.
So there's a cut-off date for depreciation on the building structure. That's the 16th of September, 1987.
Okay.
So unless your property commenced construction after that date, you're not going to get any claim on the original building structure.
Sure.
New properties are always better for depreciation deductions on that structural component because it's the full undeducted figure.
Yep.
Of course, it qualifies because it's brand new. Another big difference is the plant and equipment items. So unless you're buying a brand new property today, so if you're purchasing an investment property or building an investment property, if it's not brand new today, you won't be able to claim those plant and equipment depreciation deductions anymore because of the changes.
Gotcha.
One exception where it doesn't work perfectly from a deductions point of view that newer is better than older is, let's say you got a property that's in Melbourne, it was built in the 1920s and it's just sold and the previous owner spent $400K renovating the thing. In that instance, the construction deductions on the structural component qualify because of the renovation, not the original part, but so much money has been spent that one might actually show better deductions than a new property that you're buying for $400,000 or $500,000.
Gotcha.
But that's a pretty extreme example.
And when you're doing a depreciation schedule, do you always have to physically inspect the property itself?
We like to whenever there's any variables. So if you are purchasing a property, the answer is always yes.
Okay.
If you're building a property, it depends. It depends on the level of details that we have. So if you're buying a brand new investment property, then we need to go and we need to measure the property because that's a part of how we estimate the construction value. And we need to look at all the fixtures and fittings inside. So when you buy an established investment property, they don't say, congratulations, you bought this many square meters of building.
Yes.
You bought this value worth of carpets, ovens, cooktops, that sort of thing.
Yes.
The brand new property will have a set of plans if we're working with the owner or a company that's delivering that, and we'll have the schedule of finishes. So the majority of times we wouldn't need to physically inspect that. But when we're working with a company such as yours, for example, we like to go and have a look at one example of the type of finish.
Sure.
Because it makes sense from an economy of scale. You're not doing any huge changes from property to property.
Yeah.
You're using the same builder or similar builders. So if we go in and we have a look at it, then we know this is the standard. But there's pretty good levels of documentation anyway.
Awesome. Because I guess the whole idea of sending in a quantity surveyor to go and physically inspect the property is to see if you can actually maximize your deductions, right?
Yes.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, how often do you actually need to get a depreciation schedule done?
Look, really should only need to get it done once.
Yep.
So the report actually lasts for 40 years from the date of purchase.
Yep.
So if you purchased it 4 years ago, the report will start 4 years ago.
Sure.
You might not necessarily be able to backclaim that far. Normally it's 2 years. But yeah, from the date of purchase or construction, it's 40 years. And the report just shows the deductions year 1, year 2, year 3, all the way along.
Sure.
And the only reason why you need to really revisit that is if you made some major changes to the property. If you say add a split system, you don't need a quantity surveyor to estimate it because you'll have an invoice that says exactly how much it costs, right?
Yeah.
And you'll know the date that it was installed.
Sure.
So you can give that to your accountant. They can look up the depreciation rate. Or if it's one or two small items, you can give it to us and we'll update the report free of charge anyway.
Okay. That's really interesting.